Easy Learning with Professor Reshma. This video is on part 2 of chapter 1. In the last video, we had studied about the composition and uses of air. Now let's continue the chapter in this video.
Now what do we see in this picture? Yes, there is lot of smoke coming out from the chimneys of the factories, and there is some fire like with a big cloud of dust and smoke. Yes, this is the air pollution. Now because we get many things from the air, we also give out waste into the air, and most of these waste are very harmful and can cause diseases or cause various disorders to humans, plants and other animals. So what is air pollution? So when smoke mixes with the air and thus disturbing the balance between the constituents of the air, it is called as air pollution. So air pollution, why does it happen? By vehicles, when there is a fire, or when there is from the industries, the smoke or the waste gas is released through the chimneys. These all cause air pollution. So what gases are formed during air pollution? There are nitrogen dioxide, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide and soot. So these are the different harmful gases that are formed when there is air pollution from the industries or the cars. Now why do we call carbon dioxide as a harmful gas? We know carbon dioxide is useful to us. Plants use carbon dioxide to make food, and carbon dioxide is naturally present in the environment. So why is carbon dioxide listed under harmful gases during combustion? Because when combustion takes place, carbon dioxide is formed. This carbon dioxide is only 0.03% naturally. But when we combust or when we burn something, more carbon dioxide is formed, and this percentage increases. And when this percentage increases, that is harmful. Carbon dioxide is not harmful, but the amount of carbon dioxide in the environment can be harmful. This can lead to global warming and causing of the ices and glaciers to melt, and then causing the islands, the waters in the oceans to increase and covering up the small islands or even the coastal areas. Therefore, carbon dioxide is listed among the harmful gases released during combustion. What is soot? Soot is the black residue that is left behind when something burns. So if you take a paper and you burn it, at the end of the flame you will see some black particles leaving. That is called soot. Now the government has made a digital meter that helps to identify or calculate the amount of these gases that is present in a particular area. So this helps us to know whether our environment or the atmosphere is clean or not, and if it is not clean, then certain measures can be taken by the government. So there is sulfur dioxide right on top. Then the nitrogen gases, nitrous oxide, nitrogen dioxide, carbon monoxide and all particulate matters of different sizes. Next we are going to study about the ozone layer. So where is the ozone layer present? It is present in between the troposphere and the stratosphere. It's a thin layer of ozone gas that is formed by the chemical reaction of the oxygen. They form ozone gas, and this ozone layer is very useful to us. So ozone gas, that is O3 gas, is present in the lower layer of the stratosphere. The ozone layer, it absorbs the harmful ultraviolet rays that come from the sun. Ultraviolet rays are naturally emitted by the sun along with the heat. So the sunlight reaches the surface of the earth, but these ultraviolet rays are harmful to us and it needs to be stopped. So ozone layer does this work of stopping the ultraviolet rays from reaching the earth's surface. But what happens if the ozone layer is destroyed? So if the ozone layer is destroyed, small holes form into the ozone layer, and through these holes the ultraviolet rays can reach the earth's ground, thus harming the animals and plants. Now when can the ozone layer be destroyed? That happens by carbon tetrachloride or chlorofluorocarbons. Now these are gases that are released by air conditioners and refrigerators. Therefore, there is a lot of modernization. We need air conditions now, we need refrigerators, but there are also drawbacks of these equipments. They release these carbon tetrachlorides and chlorofluorocarbons into the atmosphere, which rise up and destroy the O3. So when O3 is destroyed, no longer ozone is there, and therefore there are holes that are present into this ozone layer. So for bringing awareness about this ozone layer, 16 September is celebrated as Ozone Protection Day. The next sphere that we are going to study is hydrosphere, that is the water. So water is very essential substance for all the living things. Now our human body, 2/3 of its part is made up of water. So just imagine, if 2/3 of the part is naturally made up of water, if we do not get enough water, we can die. Therefore, water is formed when hydrogen gas is burnt in air. So we can also make water by burning hydrogen gas in the air, and it combines with oxygen to form water. But this cannot be naturally made. You cannot make water, large quantities of water in this method. So let us see how much water is actually available for us on the earth. We know 71% of the earth is made up of water. Out of that, the majority part is present in the seas and the oceans. So the blue part in this chart represents the seas and the oceans. Now we know the seas and oceans have saline water. That means they are salty. We cannot use that water for drinking, for washing, for all the domestic purposes. So then what is next highest source of water? That is groundwater, ice and water in other forms. So groundwater is a water that is present under the ground. It is not freely available. We need to dig wells, we need to dig bore wells to get that water, right? And ice also cannot be used readily as a source of water. So the next major part of the water that is present on the earth's atmosphere is also a little accessible. We cannot readily use it. So the water that is present or available for drinking is very less, is a very small quantity, and therefore we need to conserve it. Now let's look at this table. Seas and oceans, they contain 97%. The next is 2.7%. So what according to this chart represents 2.7%? Yes, that is groundwater and ice. And the last is water available for drinking. So now if we add 97 and 2.7 and minus it from 100, how much do we get? Yes, we get 0.3%. So only 0.3% of the water on the earth is available for drinking. So from where do we get this 0.3%? They may be from streams, from rivers or ponds or springs, lakes, or we can build wells or bore wells to get the groundwater. What's the difference between streams and rivers? Streams are smaller versions of rivers. Many streams together join to form one big river. Okay, and ponds and lakes, they are looking the same, just that ponds are a smaller version of lakes. And springs are sources of water that come from the mountains. So the mountains, they have this groundwater inside it which overflows and forms springs. So these are the various sources of potable or drinking water. Now what about the water that is present in the seas and oceans? That water is completely useless? No. That water participates in the water cycle. So the seas and the oceans, because they are such a major part of the water available on the earth, most of it is used up in the water cycle. So during when the sun surface touches the surface of the water evaporates, then it condenses, forms clouds, there's precipitation in the form of rain and snow, and this water reaches back into the seas through the rivers and streams. But when there is rain, the ponds, the lakes, they fill up. The rivers also, they fill up, and at that time we can use a lot of water, fresh water. So what if this water cycle stops? Then your sources of fresh water will get depleted, or the water in these sources will get over. Therefore, salt water or your water in the seas and the oceans are also very important sources of water, but they are indirect sources of water. Now what is happening over here? Yes, there are a lot of waste that is dumped into the seas. There is oil spill that is happening from the ship. There is industrial waste water is thrown into the sea. So this is an example of water pollution. So water pollution happens because of the uncontrolled use of water. We use water and we also dump our waste into that, and this will definitely lead to water scarcity.
We have come to the end of part 2. I hope you are enjoying learning with me. We will continue with the last part of the chapter in part 3. Do like, share and subscribe to my channel. Till then, happy learning.